Hey everyone, we're here with the owner of the SB Group and Bracknell Town FC. Kayne, thanks for being with us. Kayne, what's your initial thoughts on the academy so far?
It's been a really interesting start from where we finished up at the end of last season to kind of that period. I think with anyone that runs businesses and educational institutes and sports clubs, that off season was a really weird one. So I suppose my expectations during that time were, at some points I didn't know if we would be going again this year as a football club or an educational deliverer. So I suppose from even as late as August, it was still very much, are we going to be going again, from a football perspective, and would we have learners back with us? So then to kind of spring into life mid to late August, it's been a pretty big sprint from there on in, because just the level of uncertainty that was around the world and sport and education due to COVID-19. So it's I suppose it's great that we got going this year. Superb to see the numbers as well. I think somewhere between 50 and 60 players of us every day, boys and girls, on our programme from around the world and Europe and local. So it's been a really unusual year, but I'm really proud and pleased that we're still here and still fighting, given everything that's been thrown at us this year. It's not just us, it's everyone. It's been thrown at everyone this year, but you all fight your own little battles, and we as a club, as a business, we've fought some pretty big battles in the off season, and I suppose it just makes you a lot tougher, a lot stronger. So it's been a good, interesting, very different few months to the start of the football season and the academic year. So but as we come into end of first term, it's positive. It's positive. You can only say positive things because we didn't think we'd be going this year.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you mentioned players in the academy, so we've had 2 international players feature for the first team in a friendly. We've just had 2 academy players from the domestic programme go and sign for the first team as well. How does that make you feel?
Yeah, look, that's why we started this. I mean, as a club, look, you have a choice as an owner. There's 2 ways, and not just our level, but if you go right to the top of the football pyramid and you go right up to kind of your Man Cities, look, there's 2 ways, in my opinion, that you can survive or be successful in football. One, you spend a lot of money, Man City, or you develop players, Southampton. So there's 2 models that exist there, and then you go over to Europe, your Ajax, they produce players. And I suspect, from a kind of a commercial angle, that model it's more successful. I mean, obviously, Man City is successful, but it's successful because you've got someone pumping in a lot of money, a hell of a lot of money year on year. You then kind of bring that down all the way down to where we operate, and you look at what good looks like, or how to have success at our level. It's the same. Typically, you get promoted from divisions down in the non-league because you spend a lot of cash, and I've been criticised for that as I've kind of bought my way out of divisions to get to where we are along the journey. But behind that push, we've always been investing heavily in what you see off my shoulder now. The campus that will open in 21. This is for the future Bracknell Stars. So we kind of, in a non-league sense, I suppose we've had our criticisms that we spend to buy players, but the reality is, in the background for the last 4 or 5 years, we've been building this. We've been building a pathway, and it just doesn't happen overnight. It takes a long time to build facilities like we're building here that can nurture the talent, that can nurture it from 7 years of age all the way up to our first teams and beyond. We made an important partnership in the last kind of 12 to 18 months with Sandhurst Town Football Club, a club that I played all of my youth football and allied football at before I moved to rugby, which I get criticised for. But we've worked really closely with Sandhurst Town, and we've added them into our kind of, I suppose it's like an alliance. They're in our group. You look at Sandhurst, they're very heavily branded in the same way that Bracknell are, but they still have their identity, and that's really important. They're their own club. But that club is there to give players like Nat, Sudan, an opportunity to go and experience first team football. Now you've already seen Nat from that experience signing for Bracknell's first team. Whether he will feature much this year, because there aren't the number of cups competitions to be played in this year because of the everything that's gone on in the world, it's more of a streamlined season. Players like Nat, Sudan, Jack Penton, they're all going to get their opportunities in the seasons to come, and I think that is because, I believe strongly that's because of what we're doing day to day in our daytime programme. Last year was the first time we'd done the daytime programme in partnership with a US company. Didn't really work particularly well, but we learned, and I suppose that was we was on a steep learning curve last year. We've come back this year. Our academy is stronger, it's better staffed. There's a bigger focus on education. There's a focus now on diversity as well. We're looking to grow our girls program this year. So it feels a lot better. So when you do get successes, and successes come, then look, we can talk about successes because he signed for our first team, brilliant. But there's lots of other little successes in there. Like you take on Saturday was over at Reading City, playing against our former partner from last year. It was great to take a team over there. We changed things up a little bit. We took 9 under 16s, 15 years of age the players were, but under 16s, gave them their debut, and they run out 6-0 winners against an under 18 Reading City. So you look at that, and that's them 9 players are players that could come into our program next year. So many positives, so many positives, and then right over to the fact that we're not there yet on an 11-a-side competitive girls team, but we've had a few 9v9 games for our girls academy, and that's a success because we haven't been very diverse as a football club for 3 or 4 years since we lost our previous ladies team. But I always said when we went back into that space, I wanted to ensure that it was not, we didn't go back into the ladies football space and just sign lots of players from out of area. I wanted to build from the town and surrounding area and build with younger players that can go on and compete, not just kind of, I suppose, not kind of have a microwave team ready-made, bang, or take another team over. I wanted it to be built through our pathway. So that's as big a success for me as someone signing for our first team, because that gives us that diversity that we've lacked, and something that's an area that we will look to really grow on next year, and it's great to have some girls over from Europe in our academy this year. I believe we're going to grow on that again in our 3rd year next year, or 2nd year proper for us. So no, it's look, they're the successes for me in reality.
Great stuff. And then lastly, you mentioned the first team. Obviously, academy's going well with the path there that you created. What's your aspirations for the next couple of years? What do you see with Bracknell Town first team, with the academy?
Look, I've been really, really vocal since I took control of the club that I think and believe strongly that Bracknell should and could operate up in the National League. For people that don't know what the National League is watching this, the National League is just one outside of the professional game, one division outside the professional game. We sit here today 3 promotions off of what's called classed as step 1. So my aspirations are to get Bracknell Town up to that level. That's what I believe this town could support. I think it could support a professional club, but at the end of the day, you need to, first and foremost, you need to get through what is a very, very, very challenging set of divisions to get through. I strongly believe when Bobby came in at Christmas last year, had the season completed, he would have got us up last season. His points per game, his form guide, everything was linear. Mathematically, on the day that the season ended due to COVID-19, we could have won the league had we continued our form forward. So that goes to show, we could have, I suppose you look back, you can't always, hindsight looking back at it, but at the end of the day, we didn't. The season ended, and we've bounced back this year. We're 5 games in, we're second in the league, but it's still a very challenging place this year. It's going to be challenging. You can see already we had a bit of a run in the cup. We had a bit of a run in the FA Cup. Went a round further than I'd ever been before. And you can already see that the impact that starts to have on your fixtures. I think as of today, we'll be a couple of games behind when the fixtures take place tonight. We've got a cup game at the weekend. There'll be other teams playing, so it's going to be a challenge this year. And that the hope is that that the season can conclude. I think that's the biggest. That's going to be the biggest challenge. Is getting through the winter and everyone staying safe and well and getting. If we can get through, I strongly believe if we can get through playing football through kind of November, December, January, I genuinely believe that the season will conclude. But that is the challenge period, and the unique situation this year is there's a high probability that the league, if it did get concluded, would be calculated on a points per game. So you cannot afford to drop your guard at any point this year. You have to make sure that you're on it every single week in, week out, and that's difficult because every team in every league has a blip, But I suppose this year there's that threat that things could be brought to a conclusion after a set number of games. So we've got to keep winning games to make sure if it does, we're in the mix when it comes. But I think. With everything we're doing, I mean, everyone knows that we'll be leaving Larges Lane at the end of this season, largely down to the fact of our aspirations to move up. We'll go down to Bottom Meadow at Sandhurst and ground share down there. Obviously, we're building the ground down there, so it's a unique ground share, and as much as it's our joint project with Sandhurst Town, and it'll be a joint home. And in these times, it's great actually to be able to share resource. In a new stadium, and it ensures that it's consistently got a game of football week in, week out, because sometimes stadiums they spring to life every couple of weeks, and that's hard from a staffing perspective, but at least we now know down at Bottom Meadow from next season every Saturday there will be a game, and pretty consistently every kind of Monday, Tuesday there'll be a game. So that's a great thing from an efficiency and working together in these tough times with Sandhurst. It'll be a great partnership. So looking forward to that. That as a ground will take us again only so far. Obviously, Larges Lane, it's never operated where it's operating now. It's creaking on match day. It is absolutely creaking. So the move to a purpose-built ground down at Bottom Meadow will be a good one. But again, if we have aspirations to kick on step 1 and beyond into the Football League, we will need to build a Football League stadium, and we are already planning. People, we're thinking 5-10 years ahead. Everything we're building now in and around Larges Lane, we've built between the season finishing abruptly last year and now. We built a new state-of-the-art futsal court. We invested £500,000 in, and that's just off Broad Lane, off Ranelagh Drive, actually around the corner, within the grounds of Ranelagh School. That's superb for our foundation ages. So that's going to be, in the long term, the home for kind of our 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11-year-olds. Adjacent to that, we invested heavily into grass pitches. So that again, that's going to be superb in the years to come for our foundation in schooling kind of age. That's junior ages. So and then they'll graduate from that and they'll come to our campus, which you can see off my shoulder. And this site is kind of your 12 to under 18s and into our education. So obviously we next year will offer degree courses. So this will have learners and students up to the age of kind of 23. So we've been building a lot. We have got our sights firmly set on a 30-acre plot that is currently in legal negotiations, which hopefully long term could be it could be the stadium site. But then there's other conversations that are being had now about other sites within kind of RG12, RG42, about potential sites that could house a football league club. But again, it's about stepping stones, and we're about to step away from Larges Lane. That served its purpose. That's a step. That's a decent step 5, step 6, step 7 type ground. It creaks at step 4, and it absolutely will not be accepted at step 3. So it's the choices that we were faced when we decided we want to kick on and push on. There were the options open to us is you go and ground share ultimately with people that are at that level, with grounds at that level. So you'd be looking at places like Slough, Hungerford, Farnborough, but then they'd have to be willing to ground share with you, and that's not always easy, and then you'd have to pay an awful lot of money for them to ground share. So I think that the partnership with Sandhurst is a great one, in as much as Sandhurst is in Bracknell Forest Borough. It's not in RG12, I get that, but the reality is we want to progress and we want to move forward as a football club. So sometimes you have to make sacrifices and you have to make compromises, but the most important thing there is we can make an investment in the borough that will help not only our football club grow, but it will help Sandhurst Football Club grow. And I think through this partnership we will grow stronger together, and that's really important. And it's important for me because that's where I played my youth football, and it's really nice to be back down. I actually trained for Allied under-18s for Sandhurst Town down on Bottom Meadow like 20 plus years ago. So it's really nice to be back down there and you know, building something that's not only going to be good for us, but it'll also be good for the Sandhurst boys and girls. That was my junior club, the boys and girls, and I've got fond memories of travelling around. I've done the Holland tour with Sandhurst Town boys and girls when I was 15. So I've got great memories, and it's great to be back down there working. Really, really supportive town council down in Sandhurst. They're really proactive, and they're massively behind this project. So no, it's you know, in terms of, we are incredibly ambitious as a football group, very, very ambitious. My aspirations are very clear: make Bracknell a professional club. First target, get to step 1. My aspirations for Sandhurst Town and the partnership we're forming there is to get them to step 4, the step that Bracknell are at now, and that would be a step for Sandhurst that they've never been at before. And if we can get them to step 4, not if, when we get them to step 4, the synergies that then we can work, the player synergies up and down, they're going to be really, really beneficial for our academy players wanting to make that step into our first team. Being able to go and play competitive football at Sandhurst is going to be a really important part of that journey. You then roll forward. We anticipate, well, we hope to enter another team at step 7. We're going to start that application process soon. It's going to be called SBFC, nice and simplistic. It can stand for SB, Steinborn-Busse, or it can be Sandhurst Bracknell, however, or Sport Bracknell. It can be whatever you want it to be, but it's SBFC. That's going to enter in at step 7. And predominantly that is going to be for our very, very best academy players, to give them first team experience. We can't always give every academy player exposure within the Sandhurst first team or the Bracknell first team, but SBFC, it will not be about results. If they finish mid to bottom table at step 7, not a problem, but it's the experience that the young players will get playing in that first team environment that we're looking to achieve there. So it'll be a very, very young step 7 side we're looking to enter next year, very, very young. But again, with zero expectation on result, it is all about development down in that newly formed team. So in effect, as we roll forward into next year, season 21-22, we will have 3 first teams leading the way. Bracknell Town first team, followed by Sanderstown first team, and then right down at the start of the non-league journey at step 7 will be SBFC. So it's going to be massive, lots going on, really, lots of exciting stuff going on, but more importantly we are building that pathway to give young players an opportunity to get not just into our first teams but beyond. That's the really and again, you look at it, if you look at our first team, Bracknell Town first team, we were running the stats the other day, it's incredible. We could actually field 55% of our first team as 21 and under, competing at step 4. We've got a 17-year-old that played on Sunday against FC Romania. Nearly scored, actually, come on and nearly scored. 17 years of age, playing step 4. We are a club that gives opportunity to young players, and it's something that as a what I want in time is that 55% of that first team to be coming organically through our program. With some time off that doesn't happen overnight. That takes time to get there. But we're on a journey and we're on our way to doing it. So you just got to keep moving forward, one foot in the front of the other. These are really interesting times. Just got to keep rolling with it and keep pushing, striving, and we'll hopefully pop out the other side in a better shape when we get through this uncertainty that exists in the world at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. Well, listen, brilliant, exciting times ahead. Thank you so much for your time.
Superb.